Hey everybody, just a real quick PSA. Just so you know, we got the shirts in. Well, we don't, but the shirts have been made. If you've ordered them already, they'll be shipping out within the next day or so. If you haven't ordered a shirt, what the hell are you waiting for? They're already made. They're nice shirts. As you can see by the back, never out of the fight. Might have been hard for you to hear me. Here's the key though. I want to talk about what makes these shirts so special. Alright? 1, designed by a veteran. That'd be me. 2, the company that makes them, veteran owned. 3, the silkscreener that does them, veteran owned. Everything, down from the ink to the shirts themselves, all of it, 100% American made. I give a lot of thought. We wanted to have some sort of graphic on the back, and being a veteran, obviously it's from, you know, it's a quote, I guess you'd say, from Lone Survivor, but it rings true in life, especially for us, the veterans community, where we lose 22 a day, which is an abhorrent number, and we shouldn't lose any a day, but 22 veterans a day commit suicide, and that's not cool. So the shirt is a reminder for everybody that no matter how horrible things are, no matter what kind of crap you've got going on in your life, you're never out of the fight. Never give up, because tomorrow's another day and it could get better. It always is the darkest before dawn. And look, I know people go through rough patches. I can't tell what's going on in people's lives. Could be marriages falling apart, job is, falling apart, someone's sick, the kids are sick, whatever. Just keep pressing on, move through it. The only way to get through hell is to walk through hell, one step at a time. Eventually you'll get through it. So that's why I went with the saying that you're never out of the fight, as a reminder that no matter what's going on in your life, when you feel like giving up, you're never out of the fight. Ever. Do me a favor. In the description below, I'm going to have a link for these shirts themselves. Order 1, order 2, whatever you need. Get one for you, your family, your spouse, kids. Rock the shirts. Please, go order one. Alright, enough of that. Back to the regular show. Alright everyone, welcome to the regular episode. So today, I was thinking, what am we going to talk about? What are we going to do a video on? And it's something that people keep asking me. I have a basic answer I give them, so I figured I'd do a video on it and try and explain it to you. So, every time someone buys one of these, one of the others, for people that don't live here in New England, an AR-15, depending on the brand you get, you're either going to get one of those small little aluminum mags that I really don't like, but do have a purpose, or a full-size one like this that's 10 by 30 if you're in New England or in a state where you've got that 10 round law where you can only have 10 rounds in a mag. For everyone else that's in a free state, you'll have a 30 round mag. So how many mags should you have? Well, it's simple. You want to have one kit. So around 7 30 round mags. It's usually what you went out with in the military. You had about 7, and you don't want any less, and you can carry more, but that's weight you got to carry around and walk around. So depending on how much other stuff that you're carrying, it starts to add it. And it's not like you can just start shoving them in different pockets because, well, the stuff gets heavy and it'll burn you out. So what we're talking about is, so like I said, we're going to have 7 magazines. 7 full-size 30-round magazines, unless, of course, you live like here in New England where you're going to have 10-rounders. So you might want to carry more if you have only 10-rounders because, you know, if you ever have to use this for some reason, you're probably going to use about half the mag. If you're using any more than that, you got a problem. You might want to start reassessing. But half a mag, so 15 rounds, should be plenty. It's not like the movies. Gunfights don't last forever. If you only have a 10-round mag, well, you're going to use those 10 rounds and you're going to have to reload with a new mag. So the only caveat with that is if you have the cross mag, which is 2 10-round mags, so 10 here and 10 here, that are linked, right? We've talked about them before. So this essentially will give you 20 rounds versus this is only going to give you 10 rounds, and that's only because there are 2 10-round magazines that lock together just so it's easier to manipulate, right? Okay. So that's all for legality. So regular mag, right? So an empty one weighs about 5 ounces. One with 30 rounds in it is going to weigh about 1.1 pounds. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it gets to be a lot. So just bear with it. Now, the only mag that I have that would have 30 rounds, it's not going to have 30 rounds. We'll just, for the sake of everybody, the only one that's going to have 30 rounds is the one that you actually have sitting in the carbine. All the other mags that you have on your plate carrier or on your war belt, you shouldn't have 30. You should have maybe 28. And there's a reason why. So, this happens to be the only mag we have loaded. And I'm going to explain it real quick with this, and then I'm going to put it away. When these are full, there is no wiggle room. So if your bolt carrier group is all the way forward, because there's a round chambered, and remember, I like to reload when I want to, not when I have to. If this is full, as you can see, there is really no play. It's it. It stops. So when you try and put this in, it's not going to seat properly and lock because the bolt carrier group's closed and it's going to interfere and not give enough. This won't give enough to compress for the bolt carrier group. So usually you run, say, 28 rounds. This way, there is still a little room. So when you put a new magazine in, if you've already got one chambered, your bolt carrier group is forward, these rounds can compress, boom, and it locks in properly. Because a full mag, full of rounds, won't do it. And that goes with the 10 rounders too. So you might want to only run maybe 9 or 8. So I got the weights for 8 rounds because of New England. So the same type of magazine like this one. Obviously it's about 5 ounces empty. It's with 8 rounds it's going to be 8 ounces. And with 10 rounds it's going to be 8.9. So call it 9 ounces. There you go. Hex mags. So they all weigh the same. A hex mag is 5 ounces, 8.3 ounces with 8 rounds, and it's like 9.2 with 10 rounds in it. The cross mag. Again, it's 5 ounces. It was 11.5 ounces with 8 rounds here, 8 rounds here. So a total of 16. And when I filled it up to where it was 10 and 10, then it was only 13.2 ounces. Which is not bad. I mean, it's lighter than a pound. Then you got these stupid little things. Now granted, they're really light, I just don't like them because they're so small. They're hard to manipulate. You're going to lose them in your plate carrier and everything. So the ASC mag is empty, 3.1 ounces, and with 8 rounds it's about 6.5 ounces, and then with 10 rounds it's going to be 7.5 ounces. So where do we stick them all? That's what you might be asking yourself. So you've got one obviously inside the gun. You're probably going to have another 3 or 4 on your chest rig. Now, the important thing is not to have your chest really bumped out. You try to keep this part as flat as you can, so when you go prone, it's easier to get low to the ground. You don't want to be poking up that much, then you make yourself a bigger target. So, even though these have these extra little mags for pistols, I never use them. I'll put regular mags in here for the other, but I'm not putting any pistol mags in here. I don't want to be that far off the ground. Alright, I'm going to put that down. It's getting heavy. Then, of course, like last week we talked about the war belt. So then you can store extra mags on your belt. So that's where you'd be sticking all these bigger ones. If you're a civilian, you're not military, you're not law enforcement, right? These little ones, they do have a place. They're small enough and light enough. You can throw them in a backpack, carry a few extra rounds with you in one of the other different compartments. And of course, you're not going to get them in the middle of an engagement. You'd get those afterward to replenish these. Or what I like to do with these is, because they are small and relatively discreet, I'd rather have these for my kit. But where I like to use these are inside the car, because they're small, they're not taking up a lot of room. So when I take the magazines and I stash them around, being in my car, I'll use the smaller ones. Even though I don't like them, they do have some sort of purpose. One of my chief complaints with these is it always seems like the last round gets hung up and doesn't feed properly. So the other will literally lock back, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm out. And then I take a look, and there's a round sitting in here still. So I have to hit the ping pong paddle, send the bolt carrier group forward again, chambering the last round, which gets annoying. Haven't had any problems with Magpul, the Hex ones, or the Cross Industry Cross Mags, which these are really popular for anyone living in New England. If you can't get a 30-round magazine because it's against the law, this is it right here. 2 10-round mags clicked together on the end, so you're not reloading, grabbing stuff as much. It's just pull it out, turn it around, stick it back in, and go. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but all of my magazines are numbered. And for all you new gun buyers out there, these things are selling like hotcake, the others, at least in New England. If you buy a bunch of these magazines, you want to number them. This way, if you're having a problem with a particular magazine, you can identify which one it is. If they all look the same and you constantly have a problem with one, how are you going to identify which one it is, especially after the range when you throw them all together? So it's best if you number them. This way you're like, oh, okay, number 10 keeps gumming up on the 5th round, or whatever. Now you know, either take it apart and inspect it, or obviously pull it apart and use the parts for spare parts and buy yourself a new magazine, because it might be worn out, because these do wear out. Not for a while, but they do wear out. So you can see all the magazines I have are actually numbered. This way I can identify them. And I usually also identify them with some sort of colored electrical tape. This way, at a quick glance, when they're all laying in my safe, I know what's inside of them. I don't have to pull them out. So obviously I have green tape for green tips, which it's not going to focus. Oh, they're green tips. There you go. It's focused on them. The other ones that I haven't done these yet because I just got a whole bunch of these from Cross Industries. I'd probably put blue tape on these just so I know they'd be FMJ, because that's what I think I'm going to fill these up with, is FMJ. And blue denotes inert and training. I like using FMJ for training. I'd use it in self-defense, but depending on what's going on, I might need to punch through doors and windshields and other things, and that's where those come in, the green tips. So I usually carry some FMJs, some green tips with me. So, and the green tips are just M855s. That's it. They're not penetrators. They just have a steel core, and they tend to go through things that stop other rounds. They have a softer core. So it behooves you to have them. If you can come across some, grab them while you can. So in short, buy magazines when you can find them. I was up at one of the gun stores on Sunday, and a gentleman was buying himself brand new other, never owned one before, and I was just there BSing with some of the guys that work there just because I know them. And he was like, well, should I buy some extra mags? Because the magazine that came with it was one of these smaller plastic ones, like a small mag pull. And I was like, listen, if they have them on a shelf, buy them. One magazine isn't going to do you any good. You want to have multiple magazines. You're not going to take the time to drop the magazine, reload it with 10 rounds, and then continue to do what you need to do. You're going to want to be able to drop the magazine and not worry about it. Grab another magazine, reload, and get back into the fight. Just because it's interesting times, we have no idea what's going on. I'm not trying to sound paranoid, but times are interesting. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that one. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Alright, so you saw the blurb earlier with the t-shirt. They are available, so go down in the description below, order yourself a shirt. Remember, it's a veteran-owned business, designed by a vet, whole 9 yards. Proceeds go to a great cause. As always, I will see you on the trail. Stay safe in the fray.